Welcome to Redtastic. Story 1. My birth mom passed away when I was just 5, so my dad remarried again. And my stepmom and dad had my half-sister. But sadly, our dad passed away 5 years ago when I was only 20 and my half-sister 16. As for my stepmom, she literally gave up on us. My dad's sudden death jeopardized my half-sister's education as she just gained admission into high school. I didn't have a lot of money back then. I was just working as a desk clerk, earning very little. But I decided to take in my half-sister because I wanted to help her. I wanted her to have a chance at a good education, so I made sure she could go to high school. I worked hard to support her, even though it wasn't easy for me. I made a lot of sacrifices to take care of her. I had to cut costs and even borrowed money on several instances just to see her through high school. She had a bad temper too. She was always acting out and wanted the best of everything, although she knew our financial situation very well. Despite that, I overlooked her behavior and prioritized her education over my own emotions and continued supporting her. After my half-sister graduated from high school, she disappeared. She went to be with her mom's side of the family, who didn't even try to help her through high school like I did. I thought she might come for us to start some part-time job to cover part of her expenses if she were to get into college, but she never did. What hurt more was that she didn't say thank you or show any appreciation for what I had done for her. She made my sacrifices look so insignificant. Recently, something incredible happened. I won a huge amount of money in the lottery. We're talking about a significant sum, like 7 figures. It was a life-changing moment for me. But then, out of nowhere, my half-sister reappeared. She claimed that she deserves half of my winnings. According to her, it's her inheritance. If I got the money, she should get the same amount of money because we're siblings. And that's how inheritance works. It's what Dad would want too, apparently. I told her since she loves her mom's side so much, then she was free to go and ask them for her inheritance. But as for my money, she wasn't getting anything from me, not even a penny. So she left and told her mom about my decision. And guess what? My stepmom, who had never contacted me before, called demanding that I give my half-sister a share of the money. But her words couldn't convince me either. I just repeated my decision to her and ended the call as she was only fussing over the issue, and it was irritating me. Moreover, I didn't want to start arguing with her about how she herself, who never helped my half-sister's education in any way, had the guts to reprimand me over my decision. Now they are all calling me stingy and heartless just because I choose not to make the wrong decision twice. So Reddit, I'm asking for your honest judgment on this situation. Am I an a-hole? Have I taken things too far? Update. My half-sister recently came over to my place. She didn't come for shares of my winnings this time. Turns out she gained admission to college, but her mom wasn't ready to pay for her college. So, she wants me to take care of her once more. She only remembered me when it got to do with money. I turned her down and asked her to try convincing her mom to do so, as I wouldn't love to repeat the same mistake twice. As for my winnings, I'm hiring a financial advisor soon. Thank you for all your support and advice. It really helped a lot. I'm so glad you've learned from your past mistakes, OP. You're not the a-hole. Your sister is an entitled a-hole. She left you after finishing high school without a thank you, and then she came back for her inheritance. Your money is yours and yours alone. You don't have to give it to anyone or spend it on any ungrateful sister. Stand on your ground and ignore both mother and daughter. I wish you good luck, OP. I hope you do great things with your money. Story 2. 2 weeks ago, I started going to the dentist. Without going into exactly why, I've been told that except for one tooth, all my teeth will have to be pulled. Naturally, I'm not thrilled about it. I'm only 28. And in addition to that, I've developed bald spots and have been struggling with depression. In addition to that, I'm not great around strangers, so going to the dentist is already unpleasant for me, pain notwithstanding. After I got my first appointment, I messaged my dentist over Viber to confirm the date and time. She's my age and seemed rather friendly. We talked for a bit after that about random things and joked around. I knew she was married, and I personally didn't find her attractive, even though objectively I consider her pretty. I made some, in hindsight, possibly inappropriate jokes, but she didn't react negatively at the time. In fact, the next day she told me how much she had to hold back not to laugh too loud and wake her infant daughter. We talked maybe once or twice after that, but not nearly as long. Fast forward a few days later, I'm in the waiting room. She opens the door and tells me to come inside. As I step in, I see a guy standing in the room. I'm thinking he's leaving as I'm going in and don't think much about it. I start taking my jacket off and the guy sits down. There's chairs for when she's taking a break in the room. It's separate from the waiting room. Already I'm confused. She tells me to lay down on the weirdly shaped dentist chair. 1,000 thoughts rushed through my head. What is she doing? Is she gonna pull my teeth in front of that random stranger? I'm not feeling comfortable at all about this, but she just casually gives me the anesthetic. As soon as she's done injecting it, she starts talking with the guy. I turn around and see him reading patient's files. She tells him not to do that, while smiling and giggling. He just looks at her and smiles back. I'm completely lost and raging inside. She walks back to me and pulls a tooth out, then essentially rushes me out. As I'm putting my jacket on, she asks the guy if the bleeding stopped. It's at this point that I realize he's just a patient who decided it's okay to be present during my appointment and read private information about other patients. A few hours after arriving home, I messaged my sister describing what happened and asking for advice. She agrees with me that what she did was not alright. I messaged her about rescheduling the next appointment for a different day, but she says that she has no more spots left for that day. Can we not have moronic spectators the next time? I ask. That moron is my cousin. Yeah, no problem. See you Monday, she replies. I'm still pretty pissed off at this point, thinking I don't care who he was. He's not supposed to be present. But I leave it at that. The next day I start feeling bad about it, despite knowing I did nothing wrong, and decide to apologize to her. She says it's fine, not an issue, and she'll see me Monday. Today I arrived at my appointment just as she opened the door. She seemed like she didn't notice me, not really looking at me. But as she closed the door, she told me to come in. I go inside and there's a woman sitting at the same spot her cousin was. But she bends down to her and whispers something, at which point the woman gets up and goes to sit down in the waiting room. She tells me to lay down and I do. I ask her if she's alright, and she says she's great. I ask her if she's angry and she says we'll talk. Alright, this isn't going to be pleasant. She's clearly pissed and about to stick a needle in my gum, is what's going through my head. She sort of harshly sticks the needle in my gums and then says, "Listen, I'm a dentist. You're my patient. You have stepped out of line with your jokes. You personally insulted me. What if it was a doctor sitting there? Would you want me to throw them out too?" I replied that I would be fine if another doctor was present, but not some random guy. She continues with, "I've been more than nice to you. From now on, I'm going to address you with sir and there will be no more messages. That man was my brother." Even though she said it was her cousin, now she says it's her brother. Pulling teeth isn't $2,000. Not sure why she brought that up, she just randomly did. Alright? I say yeah, alright. She pulls 2 teeth and sends me home. Sorry for the wall of text. I just wanted to make sure I explained the situation properly. I feel like she brought up the jokes because I called her cousin an idiot, and not because she took issue with them. Although I would understand if she did, even though I considered them harmless at the time. As uncomfortable as I felt before going to the dentist, it's 10 times worse now. I'm worried she's not gonna give a shit if I'm in pain or not. OP, this whole situation is really strange. You're texting your dentist, making inappropriate jokes. This sort of breaches the professional doctor-patient relationship already. No, she shouldn't have had people in the office talking and giggling about while you're getting operated on, but at the same time, she could have been a lot more diplomatic in the situation. Calling someone you don't know a moron is kind of out of line. Overall, I would advise you to change your dentist to a more professional one. Now for some comments. You need a new dentist. Even her behavior before your appointment seems unprofessional. I'm not sure that there's really a problem with your doctor or dentist, etc. being that friendly, but it seems weird to me. And then having patients hanging out in the room, looking at patient files, totally unacceptable. What she did was very out of line and illegal. I would contact the licensing board in your area and report this. This is completely unprofessional and something that should be reported. I wouldn't be going back there. Anytime a doctor has a medical student, resident, or another doctor in the room I have been introduced to and asked if it's okay, I would report this ASAP. Unless a brother cousin is some sort of medical colleague, what she did is unquestionably a violation of HIPAA. Even if he is, it's probably a violation. Even if it weren't, it is so unbelievably inappropriate and unprofessional that I don't know what to say. Regardless of who he is, she needs your permission for him to be present. You need a new dentist and you probably have grounds for legal action if that's what you want. Also, it's really weird that you text with your dentist. So in short, no, you are not the a-hole. Story 3. I often make my food and go to work. I'm Indian and we Indians use a lot of spice while making our food. I often store my food in the communal fridge and take it out when it's time to eat. One day I found out that my food was missing. I didn't mind it, since it might have been a coworker who wanted to try out my food. I went to a nearby restaurant and had my food there. The next day I found out that the coworker who had eaten my food got diarrhea. My coworkers told me that I didn't have to spike the food with spice and that food from the communal fridge often gets eaten by the others. In my defense, I'm new to this country and I don't know how the office atmosphere is in this country. Am I the a-hole for causing my coworker diarrhea? Now for some comments. My dude, not the a-hole. You made that food for you and he didn't ask before eating it. People who eat food that doesn't belong to them from a communal fridge without asking are viewed as terrible people and the worst to work with here in the States. It is super uncool. It's his fault he had diarrhea. You are a very nice person for not being angry. Not the a-hole. You did not spike the food. If your coworker didn't steal your food in the first place, he wouldn't have gotten the trots. You made lunch for yourself and you had every right to expect that food would be left untouched. I don't know where you're working, but that's a pile of BS. Food in a company fridge in the workplace doesn't mean anyone can go in and help themselves to whatever. Just remember to put it in a container clearly marked with your name. Not the a-hole at all. Communal fridges aren't a free-for-all. It's actually quite common for food thieves in office spaces. It's never okay. No one likes a food thief. Sounds like the coworker got punished by accident. Next time, put your name on it. Maybe a fun warning sticker saying it's too much to handle. Steal at your own risk. Don't come crying if it's too much for your sensitive stomach. The problem I really see is you were taken to task for someone stealing from you, making you spend money to feed yourself after the theft. That really isn't okay. Similar to gaslighting behavior.